So we'll move to our first row here onto your left, Coach, right here on the edge.
Looking.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. How you doing, Coach?
Doing good, Dan. How you doing?
Doing well. Looking at the last 6 years as you head into year number 7, how would you assess, looking past, all this time that you've had at Pittsburgh, where are things from where you wanted them to be to where they currently are, kind of overlooking your era here?
I guess the first thing I'm assessing is I'm getting awful old. Going on year 7 here at Pitt. I really like the football team we have. It takes time to build, and you'll meet these 3 classy young men over here in a second. But when you look at the quality of player we have, there's times in my first couple of years I'm looking out there like, wow, okay? And that's no disrespect to what we had, but, I think every year we get a little bit better. I think the quality of personnel that we have, I think our depth, I think it all starts with roster management. We've been able to retain our players. We don't have a bunch of guys in the portal. Our guys are sticking with us. And I'll leave, for example, Kenny Pickett probably could have gone anywhere in the country he wanted to go, but he says, I'm coming back for my 5th year at Pitt. And that tells you about a culture we have there. But we've got quality football players, and you know how a game goes. There's the ups and downs of every ball game, and sometimes it takes a little luck. But I'm excited about where we are as a football program, as a football team. And again, our depth and our roster management is as good as it's been. And we've got, I sit there and look, there's years like, how are we going to get through the season with these 4 linebackers that can play? Now I'm looking at like, man, if he goes down or if he goes down and he goes down, we're still okay. And I think that's crucial, in the ACC.
Coach, from the podium, continuing on that thought, 29 returning on defense, 31 on offense. You only lost 9 lettermen, and that's no deference to them. It seems as though the Panthers are pretty well fortified this year.
We do. We had 13 super seniors, which fortifies you pretty good. And when you're from the Steel City, that certainly helps. I think our depth is good everywhere. It's going to really be trying to make sure everybody's getting enough reps and trying to keep everybody happy through the season. Our locker room is full. We've got great players. I think we got team concept going on, and I like the leadership that our players have shown from top to bottom, and our coaches have done an unbelievable job.
Let's bring the microphone back to Dan here in the first row to the edge to your left.
Coach, name, image, and likeness, something that every coach has to really think about and break down to the best of your ability at this point. There's a lot of questions. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of answers at the moment. How do you assess it?
Number one, it's a great opportunity for our kids. I think as coaches, you look at your children back at home, your children on campus, and I look at our players, the opportunities they have. Now, I want them to be selective. I want them to do the right opportunities. You want to make sure they're organized in what they do, but the opportunities that our kids are getting, and then it gives some young guys an opportunity to look up at a Kenny Pickett or a Desmond Alexander and say, well, I want to be like him. Like, look what he got. How do I get where Kenny is, okay? Everybody should want to be in Kenny's shoes, and it's not just a given. Kenny's earned anything he's got. People around the country have earned what they're given right now, and like I said, Kenny certainly, when he decided to come back, he didn't come back thinking that this name, image, and likeness was going to be something, but he's able to take part in it, and it's really going to build him for the future, and it's going to build our kids for the future. So I think it's a great opportunity for our young men to build their image, and we've got a life skills program on campus, and Penny Samaya runs it, but since the first day I arrived on campus, he always talked about branding and branding and branding. So we've been branding for a long time at Pittsburgh. And he was always talking about, the first impression, what do people think of you when they step up on this podium today? So we've been talking about branding for a long time. Now it's an opportunity for our kids to earn some money, okay, earn a meal. I don't care what it is, but to be able to not have to go to a restaurant and say, well, you can't give me that appetizer. So it's a great opportunity, but there's got to be some restrictions, some lids put on this thing. And I think we'll eventually get to that. It's disappointing that there already isn't some legislation, and I think the commissioner talked about it earlier this morning. So, I won't, beat a dead horse with that, but there's got to be some constraints on this thing, and I think it could get out of control. But all you want to do is, make everything equal, and I think, the equality there is going to be important.
We're going to take the microphone quickly to the very back of the room. Gentleman who has his hand raised. Coach, if you follow your eye all the way up the aisle to the right.
I don't know why he's in the back row, but that's okay.
Got you. Feels like the back anyway.
Coach John Eads with Orange Fizz. Obviously lost a lot of talent off that defensive line from last year to the NFL. How's the unit progressing this offseason?
Yeah, great question, John. You know, with Patrick Jones headed to the Vikings and Rashad Weaver to the Titans, you know, we lost a lot of fighter power there. You know, we'll maybe blitz a little bit more. Maybe we got to bring some more linebackers. But we got Deslin Alexander over here you'll get a chance to talk to in a few minutes and ask him some questions. We got Haba Baldonado, a young man from Rome, Italy, John Morgan. So, you know, again, we've talked earlier, you know, as Dan asked those questions about our depth, you know, I'm happy with the way we've recruited. I'm happy with the depth, and I'm happy with the development, because it all comes down to development. I mean, Patrick Jones was a two-star player out of Virginia that, you know, I don't want to say nobody wanted, but we were able to get. And, you know, he only had 2 stars, and I don't know how many rivals guys we have in here, or 2, 4, 7, and all that. But, like, you know, our job as coaches are to develop, okay? That's why I like coaching. And, you know, so, you know, when you develop players, good things are going to happen. And that's our job, to develop more guys that can get to the passer, you know, in a 4-down situation. But we've got, you know, plenty of players, and, you know, and we've got, whether we have to design something to get pressure, and you know, we've been fortunate enough to lead the country in sacks the last 2 years, and we'd like to do it 3 years in a row.
Coach, from the podium, historically speaking, 2 of the top 5 of Pitt's largest ACC victory margins came last year. That's pretty impressive, given as goofy as all of 2020 was.
Yeah, that was last year. I don't remember what happened last year, but you know, I think offensively, once, you know, when you talk about college football nowadays, you know, you got to score points. And, you know, I think our offense got into a groove as the season moved on. You know, I think when Kenny Pickett was healthy near the end, and not 100% healthy, I'll add that. But then you get your running game going. I think great things can happen. So I think a couple of those might have been Florida State, Virginia Tech. I'm not sure which games you're talking about, but it was so long ago, and it was COVID ago. But I think those were 2 games. But, you know, in both of those instances, you saw a run game. And, you know, we can't drop back with any quarterback. I mean, you can give us Dan Marino back, but if Dan's got to drop back every snap and throw the ball, you're going to have issues. And I think when the run game gets going, you're going to see a lot more explosive plays, not a, you know, a 7 or 8 yard pass completion. You're going to see a 78-yard pass completion. That's, you know, those are the ones we like to have. Kenny'd like to just have one throw and have a nice fresh arm.
Coach, to your right about the 7th row, the young lady raising her hand.
Coach, Candace Cooper here from Locked On ACC. The Coastal is going to be extremely competitive this year. What are some of the key things that will set your team apart and hopefully get atop of the division?
Well, I mean, it's going to come down to discipline, I think, Candace. You know, when you look at it, I mean, you can have good players, and you got to go out and make plays. And to win football games, I think it's going to come down to, you know, our guys preparing to win, because I think we have the talent to win. It's preparing to win. And then it's going to come down to the details on the field, and the discipline and the details. You know, we've got to be, you know, our goal is to be the less penalized team in the country. We got to eliminate those errors. You know, we got to, you know, win the turnover ratio. I mean, all those, you know, football coach speak words. You know, those are going to be the keys. And again, you know, I'm gonna, I guess, go to church on Sunday morning at 7:30 and say my prayers and hope for a little luck, because everybody needs a little luck.
Coach, from the podium, we don't often hear questions about special teams during this type of forum. So your thoughts about the Panthers and those special team unit members going into 2021?
Yes, you know, we'll start off with the strength is our punting game. And again, I think your punt is the most important play in football. You know, Cal Adamitis, our long snapper, turned down an opportunity to go to the Senior Bowl last year. You know, had an opportunity to be a drafted guy, has graduated from Pitt already. It was not like he was going to stay to graduate. So had graduated, stayed for another year, just loves Pitt, loves college football, and that opportunity he knows is going to be down the road. So he's the guy that's going to be snapping it to our Ray Guy finalist, Kirk Christodoulou. And, you know, one of our punters from Australia. He's an incredible kid. He has made strides and gotten better every year. We've got some new weapons and some new skills that we're teaching him as far as some of the schematics go with our punt team. And we made some major strides in our punt game last year, and we continue to get better at that as the spring went on and through the summer. So that's our punt game. And again, our protection's been solid. But, you know, we've got to make sure we don't give up any blocks there. And then when you look at our field goal team, you know, the big thing is we're not going to kick field goals in the red zone anymore. So really don't need a field goal kicker this year. We just need a guy who can put it up through the upright on an extra point, because when we get in the red zone, we're going to score a lot more points this year. And I think we relied too heavily on Alex Kessman. You know, it's like guaranteed 3 when you got into field goal range. And so Alex Kessman is not with us. We've got 2 really fine kickers that will be, you know, battling out this fall. And you know, and I think they're 2 guys that can play for anybody. So, you know, we're going to put a lot of pressure on them in fall camp like we did in the spring. And, you know, I'd feel comfortable with either one of them lining up. We're going to find out, you know, who's that guy that's going to make the money kicks.
Thank you. Anything else for Coach? If not, Coach, why don't you switch places with Jordan, and we'll bring Jordan up.
I think we got one more. I think I see my man John over here.
Perfect. Thank you. My fault.
John in the back there in the middle, back row guy.
Yeah, John McGonigal, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Pat, going into training camp now after having a spring with Brennan Marion as wide receivers coach, what impact have you seen him make on guys like Jordan and Jalen Barden and Taysir Mack in that group?
Yeah, I think that's, John, a great question. It's a great question for our players as well, and I think Jordan maybe be able to answer that question as good as I can, and I think I can answer it with a lot of confidence. You know, I'll first off say, you know, Chris Beatty, our receiver coach, left for the Chargers in the NFL, and it was a hell of a coach, great person, you know, a joy to be around every day in our office, and I miss him. And, you know, but my job as head coach is to move on. And we can hang our heads and say we just lost a guy to the NFL. Why'd the NFL have to come steal a receiver coach? But my job is to go get a guy that's just as good or better. And that was our goal. I know there were some sad faces, and Jordan had one of those sad faces because not only did, you know, Coach Beatty coach him, he recruited him as well. And they had a great relationship. But my job is to go get another guy. And I've been impressed. You know, there's always that other coach that can come in and give you even more, you know, and really Brendan Marion has come in, and those kids are playing with a lot of enthusiasm, playing with a lot of effort. You know, they just, you know, I like what I see. I think they're doing a better job blocking right now. And again, they're a year older, so, you know, a lot of that comes with age, and it's nothing that Coach Beatty was not coaching, but I just see a lot more effort out there. And again, I think they got a lot of confidence, and it's just a different atmosphere in that room. And every coach, you know, whether my old linebacker days, got a little bit different attitude in that room, a little bit different demeanor, and it's been a great change. And you know, we're excited about it. I think our receivers are excited about it. And now we got to get into game mode. So spring ball was great. Coaching the fundamentals is great. Now we're going to get into game mode and make sure our guys are prepared. That's going to be the next key. Is the preparation game by game. Okay, when the coverages change, what are they doing, and how we make adjustments there. And I'm sure Coach Marion will do a heck of a job there as well.